This reaction episode deals with a lot of heavy topics in healthcare, such as burnout and stress. And if you're feeling any of those emotions, please reach out to the available resources to you. I've linked some of them in the description below, and please take care of yourself as you take care of others.
Had a little fender bender this morning, so we'll be repairing his right femur.
Okay, so this is actually something that does happen in procedural and operating room areas. When someone is undergoing a procedure, the surgeon will actually label whatever limb, arm, finger, whatever the case may be that they are operating on, so that way they don't make a mistake of operating on the wrong limb. This actually happens all the time. I remember taking care of a patient who was having surgery the next day. The surgeon comes and sees them in the evening just to make sure that they have no other questions the day before surgery, and they will take a Sharpie out and literally write left, right on whichever limb that they're going to be operating on the next day, and this just helps make sure that no mistakes happen. So this is true.
Getting this on.
Okay, this is also very true. I remember being in nursing school in my second semester. I was watching an open heart surgery, and the OR team gave me like a little stool to stand on, and I'm like standing over the entire like table while they're all surrounding, just like doing the surgery. It was a very lengthy surgery. I remember being in the room for at least 3 hours watching the entire thing, just standing on the stool. And one of the things that they did was they played music. And see, the thing is that music in combination with medicine is actually very therapeutic. Medicine helps relax you, calm you, gives you clarity and mental focus, and it makes perfect sense that an OR team would be listening to music to better help assist them in their focus of doing what they're doing.
A big steel wall. That is what you need to have between your personal life and your professional life. Outside.
You know, there's actually a little bit of truth to that. You know, as nurses, a lot of the times we want to bring work home with us. We had a really hard, traumatic day. We've seen a lot of really difficult things, and we want to just like unload it all at home. But then what ends up happening is that we bring all of that home with us, and then we like give it to the rest of our family, and it makes it difficult to like let go of it. And then the same goes for the flip side. You know, if you're having a lot of difficult things happening at home and then you bring that to work, it can make your performance and your patient care not as great. So it is important to have a healthy balance between work and your personal life. There's just got to be a balance, but that doesn't mean the two can't blend, because you don't want to make it to where you're so much of a steel wall that you can't tap into those emotions that you need to as a nurse, because you need to be empathetic to what people are going through. This is the most vulnerable state that they can be in as patients in a hospital, and so the blend between the two is very tricky and very hard, and I think it's something as nurses that we're constantly reconstructing ourselves to be better at, but it is one of the most important things that you can do, is to have a healthy balance.
Very robust personal life. I play the marimba, which means weekly lessons and recitals. I got my nuts. I love my nuts. I am a bone brother and a mugger, meaning I make...
Okay, so this is another thing too. I feel like you have to find yourself a hobby, something that you love to do, to be able to de-stress from the stress of being in healthcare. Healthcare is stressful. Being a nurse is stressful. Lots of hard things we undergo in the job. So, you know, finding something that can be therapeutic for you outside of work is majorly important. Just last year, I picked up a hobby that I haven't done since I was 7, which is play the piano. And so I started taking lessons, and it's been very therapeutic for me. It's something that I can focus on throughout the week, something I can grow and learn at, hone in on the skill, and something that really is calming and really fun for me to be able to do on days that I'm off. So find that thing that you love to do outside of your job, and it will make a difference in how you feel and giving yourself mental rest.
I foreclose on people who can't pay their mortgages.
But, you know, it's probably a bunch of greedy investors who got over their skis, am I right?
Oh no, those guys have shell companies and lawyers. It's too messy. I like couples and families. It's a lot cleaner.
Good. We'll find a better one.
Okay, so here's something that I think is an excellent point to bring up, since we're talking a lot about emotions and balance, and this brings in a call of ethics, right? So there are going to be times where you take care of someone and you may not agree with their ethics, their morals, who they are, what they do. And as nurses and in medical in general, you have to be able to take that and put it aside and give care to the person. We as nurses should strive to be giving care the same way to any and all people. That is what good care is, and it is what is the most ethical. Despite how you feel about the patient and what they believe and how they are, we are to give the same care. So this is actually a very great example of this. I'm glad that they're showing these parts of healthcare that maybe we don't always get to talk about.
Heal, all right? So I wouldn't longboard for a couple weeks. I mean, I wouldn't longboard ever, but that's more my own personal judgments coming into it. Nurse Alex?
So see, this is actually a really great example of maybe what we want to refrain from as nurses. Like, you know, someone comes in and there's going to be things that we as nurses have to provide education for. And there are certain things that we want to educate. Yes, we want you to stop this completely. This is risky behavior that can put you in further danger. But then there are other activities or other hobbies that, you know, with assistance and education, they can do properly and safely that do not bring them harm. So for example, longboarding, right? You can totally get in an accident like this patient with longboarding, but instead of just saying, no, stop, don't do that. I wouldn't approve of that. I would never do that, right? That can become very judgmental to the patient. Instead, we would just provide education to them from a non-judgmental standpoint. So being like, hey, that's really cool that you longboard. You know, next time, that way you don't have any injuries, we recommend that, you know, wear some, like, you know, just some shoulder pads, elbow pads, anything that can protect your skin from scrapes, so that way you don't get this kind of burn or injury in the future. That's a more non-judgmental approach, and it keeps the patient from kind of retaliating in a way, whereas if they feel judged, they may not seek care next time, or they may do the total opposite of what we say that they should do, just out of defiance to our judgmental nature that we're giving to them. Now, things like smoking, right? We as nurses do a lot of education against smoking, and we try and assist the patient one-on-one on like, what's the best way for you to be able to have smoking cessation, to stop smoking, right? We partner with them, we provide them resources to better help them rid this habit completely, because smoking is something that we know in the future this is going to continue to cause you harm, and we want people to have the best health that they can have. So just some things to kind of discuss and think about in the healthcare setting.
All right, let me circle back to something. No, I am not okay. I'm a little upset. Someone very close to me passed away this morning.
I'm so...
This is something that's it's a very powerful scene, because as nurses, I feel like we wear this just plate of armor that we must be as tough as possible so we can take on our patients and their family members' griefs. But you must also assess yourself and know when you are not okay, when you are overwhelmed, or when you are burned out, because you have to help yourself to be able to help other people. If you are constantly running on low, empty, no fuel at all, there's no energy there to be able to perform and take care of the other person. So it's very important to let someone know when you're not okay, not to harbor that inside, but to be able to share that. So that way you can have someone that's accountable with you for the way that you feel, for your emotions, and also just utilizing what resources are available. I know that there are some hospitals that do offer like the first 5 sessions of counseling for free. for nurses when burnout is high, when emotions are high. Like, as nurses, you see a lot of heavy, hard, emotional stuff. And a lot of the times patients, family members, other healthcare staff will put nurses in the middle of it. And it can be very challenging, very stressful, very difficult. And so taking care of yourself is so important, and acknowledging these emotions, using your resources to better help yourself, so that way you can properly do what you are called to do, which is to give the best care to patients. So this is a very powerful scene.
What if this is that day? And this isn't just some guy, this is someone's dad. Maybe that makes me try just that little bit harder. Stop a kid from growing up without a dad.
And wow, what a way to wrap up the episode. The best care would be given if we were able to view the patient as more than just a patient. If we were able to empathize with their situation and give care to them as if they were our own family member, to view them as a sibling, a parent, a child, a teacher, a police officer, a member of society, something more than just a patient. The best care could be given. And I think this whole entire episode wraps up a lot of serious and heavy issues in nursing, but it does it in a very lighthearted way. And so I've really appreciated kind of getting to dive into these topics. But wow, this is good. This is good stuff.